Travis here. Another little segment for Creative Waves. Wanted to talk about a cool creative tool that I've used quite a lot actually. It kind of blew my mind when I first discovered it, but it's known as the oblique strategies. So if you've heard about that, you know what it is, but basically the oblique strategies was a series of cards that they actually had printed as cards, designed by Brian Eno, famous musician and producer, and a painter called Peter Schmidt. And they were kind of, I don't know, a collection of things that would get you out of creative dilemmas. And they were pretty interesting. I'll read the actual card here, or the description of what the oblique strategies was from Brian Eno's point of view. Oblique strategies over 100 worthwhile dilemmas. These cards evolved from our separate observations into the principles underlying what we were doing. Sometimes they were recognized in retrospect, intellect catching up with intuition. Sometimes they were identified as they were happening. Sometimes they were formulated. They can be used as a pack, a set of possibilities continuously reviewed in the mind, or by drawing a single card from the shuffled pack when a dilemma occurs in a working situation. In this case, the card is trusted even if its appropriateness is quite unclear. They are not final, as new ideas will present themselves and others will become self-evident. Brian Eno, 1976. So yeah, the way I've used them is how he describes there, where you draw a card and let that be your thing. How many cards there are? It's over 100. I printed them all out. I made my own set because I'd found it online somewhere, and I don't think at that point you could buy cards. I think you can now, and actually there's like an iPhone app for it now, or Android app, which will give you the cards too. The original card set was even cooler. It'd be neat to find one of their originals, because they had abstract paintings in there as well. So you draw a card and it would be an abstract painting, which is cool. What does that mean, right? But you know, you're in a creative dilemma. You can't quite figure out what the bass should do between the bridge and the chorus, and you're stuck. And what do? You draw a card. So let's draw a card. We'll talk about what that result might mean. I'll just shuffle here. Oops, I don't have all of them. Ready? Pick one? Yeah? Yeah, right there? Okay, let's see what we got. Do something boring. That's actually a great card. Because again, when you're, at least this is a problem I run into, you're doing stuff and you're like, I gotta do something great every time. I gotta do something exciting and normal, or exciting and abnormal every time. But sometimes just doing the boring thing is what will work. Again, these are like things that break up those creative log jams or those blocks that we have and things. So I like that card. That's a card that I would actually use, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta stop trying to be fancy. I'm just gonna do something boring there. Let's think of another creative dilemma. This tune, it just doesn't, feels kind of dead. Is the tempo too slow? Am I playing it crappily? What's the problem? Can't figure it out. Let's draw a card. Ready? Let's draw a card. Oh, still a few more down there. Wow. And you can get as crazy and mystical as you like. Interesting. Look at this card that says reverse. It was on the bottom. Reversed as it will. A couple of Eddie Van Halen guitar picks hiding in there. Okay. Oh. We still haven't drawn, but this is one that I wrote because I watched the Herbie Hancock masterclass, and he had this saying, don't judge it, make it work, which that has been very handy in a lot of ways. As musicians, we judge everything, especially when we're recording, and it's like, stop judging it, just make it work. I like that one. So I wrote it down and I stuck it in the deck. Okay, let's draw another one. These are hard to shuffle, they're just like weird index cards. What do you think? Yeah? Dig into that one? Okay, let's see what we got here. Separate it out. The tape is now the music. Wow, that's pretty weird. What could that mean? Well, I mean, this came from the days when you were doing things on tape. So there was lots of actual things you could do with the tape that would change things. Things like flanging, you know, as we know as an effect, that was originally kind of an effect that happened while manipulating tape reels and stuff like that. So the tape is the music. That's kind of cool. It's a bit like a koan. If you know what a koan is, it's like a Zen riddle that doesn't have a logical answer. But it has the process of wrestling with that question can be informative in certain ways. Let's say it that way. And Westerners hate koans because, again, there's no answer for it. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Anyone that can give you a straight answer for that is bullshitting you and themselves. It's something that you come across in your own struggle with it, right? So things like oblique strategies are, in a sense, koans. The tape is the music. You could take that in a lot of different directions. How would I do that? I would take it literalistically at first, actually. So when I presented the dilemma, this tune kind of is meh, you know, am I playing it too slow? Am I playing it crappily? Tape is the music. Well, I would try speeding it up. Speed up the tape. Speed up the music. Slow it down. Play with the pace of it in that sense. So tape we can take literally as the speed of the music in this case. That would just be one way of messing with it. You could think of 100 others, no problem. Let's draw another one. Just draw one at random here. Put in earplugs. Well, again, that's one you could take totally literally. You could say, oh, geez, I've got an earplug here. I got two. I put in earplugs all the time, actually, but I would put in earplugs, have another listen to it. Do I hear it differently? That would be one approach. You could take that more conceptually. Mute certain parts of the track. Things that seem like they should be important, take them out. Block off the sound of that thing, right? Putting in earplugs on a conceptual level. Yeah. Again, 100 ways you could do that. I don't really want to go into like 50 different explanations because it would be completely situational and it would have to do entirely with what is happening musically, right? But oblique strategy, I would check it out. Let's do one more just for fun. It's another creative dilemma. I can't come up with a third part for this tune. I've got a cool verse, I got a cool chorus, but it really needs a bridge. I just don't know. It's like I don't want to go up to A again. I'm always playing A. That sucks. What am I gonna do? Let's draw a card at random here. This time I'll just cut the deck and we'll see what we get. You can't see my hands. It could all be some kind of weird card dealer trick, but actually, I'm just actually cutting the deck. Idiot Glee. I like that one. Idiot Glee. Thinking of a new section. Idiot Glee. Just go for it. Throw your hands down and freak out. That would be the very most literalistic way to interpret that card. Idiot Glee. You could start to think into that more and more and more if you wanted. There's lots of ways that you could approach that. You could think of the rest of the tune as being kind of Idiot Glee. It's time to narrow it down and get serious for the bridge, or vice versa, right? So lots of ways to do it. Oblique strategies, kind of a neat little thing. I use it a lot actually when I have some difficulty. Just through some of the, how would someone else do it? That's kind of a neat one. Decorate. Yeah. What wouldn't you do? That's a cool one. I think of that a lot just naturally for myself. It's like I have a very limited, on guitar especially, I have a limited vocabulary. So it's like I'm often very sick of what comes out of my hands. And so I think a lot about that. What wouldn't I do right here? And that leads me in interesting directions. look closely at the most embarrassing details and amplify them. Like, again, I love that because basically, you know, what are we doing? We're trying not to embarrass ourselves, but you know, what is embarrassing about that? Let's have a look at that and let's dive into those details. And often that can teach us some pretty interesting things about what we're doing, and definitely gives us a different perspective, which I think is critical. Perspective, especially in creativity, that's what it's all about. We always have to find ways to trick ourselves into having different perspectives. So anyway, that's a cool little look at the oblique strategies. I printed them out and put them in this little tin. I keep it right by the console in the studio here, and that way they're nearby. So again, another little creative strategy, creative tool. Check it out, the oblique strategies, right here, Pi Records YouTube channel. See you later.